Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kurojiri, your resident tinker and Medarotter, and this is the Medarot News Network, bringing you all the latest developments and happenings with our favorite pet fighting robot series. Now, as we say farewell to the summertime party time and the two Gyaru twins that Mr. Tagro did introduce to us in the past couple weeks, this time around, as we crest into the latter half of July, we're finally going to be getting into the big meat of what makes this month in particular so special for Medarot S. And that is the fact that we will be celebrating for at least the next couple weeks the 4.5-year anniversary milestone of the game as a whole. And even just taking a minute to reflect on this, I just have to say, I'm honestly blown away and just shocked at how successful the game has been. Maybe not necessarily on a financial front because I don't have those numbers in front of me, but just in the sheer number of models it's represented, how long the game's been running, and even with the friends it's made in very high places through collaborations over these last 4.5 years. It's honestly amazing even for a gacha game to last this long, and I'm so happy that Medarot has been making leaps and bounds and making a lot of changes as time goes on to stay with the times. And on the topic of staying with the times, not only do we have just a little bit of a teaser as to what to expect going into this week as we start the celebration, next week we'll likely have a little busier of a week as we really get into the meat and potatoes of the festivities, but we do have a lot of major quality of life changes that were also announced this week that will be going live as well. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into what was officially announced for this week going forward. As far as gacha banners are concerned, thankfully we only have one brand new one that is going live this week. And you may or may not recognize this old fellow from the main story mode in recent chapters that we got an official teaser of, but didn't actually know fully what he did until today. And that is our new Witch Hunter type, or relative Witcher, I guess you could call him, WNT0 Amira Magus, with a kit of Replay Shot, Drain Shot, Unsuccess M, Biped Legs, and a new leg ability called Forest Up. Now, to explain briefly what these new skills do, because they actually are quite powerful, Unsuccess M is basically just a gunpowder skill that has the Unsuccess negative ailment attached to it, which basically means upon attacking the target, it will get a 50% deduction to their success stat, which means they're going to be fighting pretty blind as long as that ailment stays active. Forest Up, on the other hand, is a brand new leg ability, like I said, that basically is an all-stat plus, much like, say, Double Edge or High Fly or even Darkness, but it also gives you the auto-repair and the auto-charge leg abilities at the same time, as long as you are on forest terrain. So now we're going to be getting into a whole new slew of leg abilities that are going to be very very heavily reliant on the terrain that they're going to be on, more than just your regular terrain compatibility bonus. Amira Magus here in particular is going to be absolutely dominating in forest terrains, but in most any other terrain, probably about as you expect of a standard biped type. So still, going to be a very useful and very solid model when it comes to the survivability aspect between Replay Shot and Drain Shot as well, and Unsuccess M for being able to keep enemies from landing a lot of solid hits. Now, when it comes to boosted rates this time around, they did kind of throw us for a really interesting loop and kind of give us a little bit of theory crafting in terms of what we can expect next week. This week in particular, we have boosted rates for both of the Archangel twins that were introduced at last year's 3.5-year anniversary mark. And that is RPL0 Rafalt with Wide Repair, Anti-Air, Hyper Tornado, Biped Legs, and Abson. And we also have URL0 Uriel with All Restore, Panic, Punishment, Biped Legs, and All-Rounder. Now, honestly, these both have been making some pretty solid rounds in competitive meta for a while, Rafalt especially for the anti-air and tornado combo, but even Uriel as well has a very solid hand in where he's at, and if you use him as a pure set, he actually is quite speedy once you put him on the battlefield and All-Rounder kicks into effect. So whether you choose to go for either of these two, or even for Amira Magus himself, since these two are boosted rates, you're still gonna end up on top anyway, because there are a lot of really useful models between these three alone in terms of the kind of skills that they bring to the table. I like to believe, given that we're getting these two this week as the first half of 4.5 year, we're probably going to be seeing Gothic Mate next week, since he was the main event of the 3.5 year anniversary last week. But that is only a theory, and we will have to see once we do get the news for this week at time of next week at time of recording. Now, when it comes to Fierce Battles this week, it's going to be a pretty diverse array of male bots with a lot of mixed range between all 6 of them. For this week, starting us off, we have GDR-0 Gun Desperado with Rifle, Double Anti-Air, Biped Legs, and Gunman. We also have HKD-0 Hakato with Charge Plant, Hammer, Guard 300, Biped Legs, and Fortress. And we also have SKD-0 Sagoto with Beam, Double Hold, Biped Legs, and Captor. On this bottom row here, we're starting off with GLM-0 Sekizo with Triple Missile, Tank Legs, and Continuous P. DGD-0 GO Death with Optic Guard, Double Sacrifice, Float Legs, and Barrage. And then last but not least, TOT-0 Yellow Turtle with Heater, Double Laser, Tank Legs, and Bullet Rain. So like I said, a lot of very solid and versatile mixed range skills between the 6 of these models here, and whether you choose to go for the 2 MVPs of the week, which this week in particular are Sekizo and Yellow Turtle, you're still going to have a very nice array of parts that you can farm for that you have at your disposal. Especially if you are a new player or a rookie that's just starting out, having these in your library is more often than not better than having them at all. But I would recommend putting some emphasis on the 2 that I mentioned here, primarily for the legs more than anything else, because Continuous P does kind of fix an issue that Tank Legs do have with low speed, and Bullet Rain does also give Yellow Turtle a little bit more of a competitive edge when fighting anyone that is not dominant shooting, much like he is. The other models in particular, Hakato and Sagoto for their mixed range as well, Gun Desperado for anti-air if you do have yourself a tornado user, and GO Death probably not going to be the most useful of the 6, but if you do have some really solid HP boosters, you could probably capitalize on the sacrifice nuking that you have at your disposal with him. Now, since we are celebrating the 4.5 year anniversary, we do also have a new pair of Medarotters that'll be dressing up to the nines to celebrate this momentous occasion. This time around, we'll be celebrating with the 2 pro tags from Medarot Navi, which is Kasumi and Hiyori. This time around, Anniversary Kasumi here will grant you a 40% buff to your Metaforce gauge if the hit you land lands or is guaranteed a critical hit. So, going to be very solid for those punish hits no matter what, especially if you have someone that specializes in Metaforce Sustain. Hiyori, on the other hand, doesn't necessarily give as powerful or as potent of a skill, but still going to be very useful in the speed department, with a 50% boost to cooldown on the next turn that it's activated on. Even if it is only 1 turn, that's still going to be a very solid buff to guarantee that even if you have a no dodge, no defend penalty, you can finish it out relatively quick without the risk of being slapped on the back end as a punishment for using a stronger skill in particular. Now, when it comes to events, we're going to be getting a 2-week event, of course, as we celebrate the 4.5 year anniversary of Medarot S. This time around for Wave 1, as we celebrate the red ticket and first half bonuses, we'll have an opportunity to earn even more limited time rewards, such as an anniversary quote and a voiceover for Medarot Arase that we can listen to in the library. We also have the opportunity to earn DRI-0 Stee Dryad, which has a kit of Metaphor Seal, Double Hold, Multi-Legs, and Forester. We can also earn the Earth Medal, which is actually a rerun medal from previous rewards, which has a mastery in melee, support, and defense, and a leg mastery in biped, multi, and tank. So yet another really solid medal that they're going to be rerunning here, and definitely going to be worth farming for, even for just this particular reward alone. And we can also earn even more limited time rewards like extra resources like NFRPS chips or diamonds, or even anything else that you might see yourself find yourself running low on. The Meta Wheel of Fortune event, which we only see at anniversaries like this, is going to be a very solid event as well, as it means that once you empty all the boxes at the end, which I will go over the rules ever so briefly, you have an indefinite box that you can farm for gacha tickets and anything else of the like. To explain the Meta Wheel of Fortune briefly for all of our new players in particular, basically you can feed it tickets to earn limited rewards from certain boxes. And once you get that big ticket item, it gives you the option either to continue emptying the box, or you can continue to the next box and work your way up. Usually I recommend still pushing for the just emptying the box before you keep going, unless it's just a bunch of really low tier rewards that you really have no need to top up on. Now, as far as the event is concerned with bonuses, it's going to be a ticket-based event, of course, so much like previous ones of the past that they just recently overhauled for, bonuses will stack per part, much like it is with a milestone-based event. So naturally, if you want to capitalize on those bonuses for the red tickets the most, you can go pure set, you can go mixed parts. It does not matter because every part that counts gets you additional bonuses. In particular, as far as Medarots are concerned with those bonuses, of course, Amira Magus will give you that +3 per part equipped each. Each of the highlighted here, Uriel, Rafalt, Deadpile, Marie Crown, and Momoiro Maple will give you a +2 each, and the Fierce Battles at a +1 each, respectively. And Stee Dryad once you have her collected. For Medarot bonuses, as you see here, it'll be a +1 bonus for each of the SR rank Medarotters, and even the R or N Medarotters, actually, now that I'm looking at this, for Kazumi, Ikki, Hikaru, and Arase, respectively. So we're going to be getting a lot of very special bonuses as for all the previous Anniversary Medarotters as well. And on the topic of those Medarotters as well, if you have the Anniversary versions of them in particular, Anniversary Kazumi will give you a +3 bonus, and the other 3 will give you a +1 bonus, respectively. So being completely honest, I really don't think this event is going to be too difficult in terms of collecting bonuses, primarily because a lot of these bots have been rerun before or are relatively easy to obtain, and same can be said for the Medarotters minus the Anniversary versions. One other thing to mention as well with this, as I go forward, actually we'll go to that in just a second. Like I said, lots of quality of life things that are going to be going live, like I said, and the event itself is going to be relatively easy to farm, so do make sure that you stock up on those parts as well. Just make sure you have them raised, and be prepared for the long grind, because compared to most other events that usually you can farm one and done and you're finished, this one is one that you're going to be absolutely want to make sure that you capitalize on farming the absolute loving daylights out of, because it gives you so many opportunities for very lucrative rewards that are normally only handed out at in very small increments at any other point. Now, moving forward to something I did kind of tease here, I'll go ahead and get started there. We were also announced a lot of massive, and I mean massive, quality of life updates ranging in utility from relatively simple to very, very lucrative that are going to be going live this week as well. The first of which here they highlighted is that if you have a meta change capable bot as your partner Medarot on your home screen, if they are capable of meta changing, you can now transform them on the home screen back and forth freely. This option was not actually there originally, and you are kind of stuck with their base mode as you see. So this is not necessarily a major thing, but mostly just a quality of life thing, just to kind of make it a little more immersive and enjoyable. And if you do make use of a pure set meta change capable bot, now you have something else that you can capitalize on and enjoy just a little bit more with your favorite partner in question. Something else to mention here, and I'm actually going to step away here for just a moment so you can see the full list. For the meta search option, which is mostly the pure set deployments that you've been able to do since early January, for earning some extra points to even redeem for free parts and extra rewards, they're going to be bumping up that list with more pickup bots that were not previously included in it, because there were a lot that were not toward the latter end of 2023. And it's going to be very, very solid for a lot of these bots that are going to be included in that pool. Now, just a friendly reminder, it is 12k points per bot, which is roughly about 3 to 4 months of farming. So if you're planning to use this for collecting an entire set at once, I'm going to stop you and say don't bother, because the investment in this is really just not worth it. Rather, the meta search is more for being able to collect single parts that you perhaps are either missing to finish the set, or for specific pieces that you really, really need that you were not able to collect. But just to kind of list off the bots that are being highlighted here that are being added to that pool, we have Megawan, just going from left to right, from row to row. We have Megawan Yodo, we have Salvation, Yata Crow, Navi Kamu, Zero Suicide, Omega Stag, Sphinx, Should Wyvern, Brutus, Dencat, Abyss Grader, Yatsukubi Daija, LaVillain, Wild Harry, Sabotena, Marine Killer, Teki Teki Mamira, Empress Patra, Kamagoamon, Charles de Nurse, Savatalis, Musketeerado, Kunai Nanena, Musha Beetle, Hyren, Bahamut, Brave Man, Deer Hero,
Chugan Hao, Steam Gunner, Clear Maid, Black Cruz, and Alba Noel. So as you see, lots of very, and I mean very powerful models available here that will be going live and added to that meta search pool. Now, just as a friendly reminder, once again, do not use the meta search to complete pure sets or buy pure sets, because you will be farming at it more or less for the entirety of a year. Whereas, if you are using it only to collect specific pieces of bots that you really need parts from, this is definitely what you're going to use it for more than anything else. Legs, specific arms, head parts to some models. This is going to be a good way to collect specific parts exclusively more than anything else. But as I do continue forward going here, I am going to step back into view. There we are. One of the other big things that they did announce, it's not 100% sure if this is going to be a permanent thing or very specific to this particular anniversary event, but we do also have the opportunity to participate in previous anniversary events as part of the main story section. So if you're running low on rubies in particular, this will be a really good opportunity to stock up on those just so that you can collect some and even save them, whether for a Mirror Magus or even for whoever they're planning to reveal for next week in the second half of the 4.5-year anniversary. Going forward with that, as I type in here, yes, the next major thing that they're going to announce is daily missions are getting a massive overhaul as well. Originally, these daily missions were really easy stuff. Participate in PvP, farm a certain event, use a leg type a certain number of times, use Metaforce a certain number of times. Really easy stuff overall, but unless you're only going in for specific things, there's a lot of those missions that you're going to end up skipping out on or not really missing, and will honestly cost you a single ruby for that completion. Well, not anymore. They're going to be changing up at the daily missions to energy consumption exclusively. So as you see here, completing 200, using 200 energy, using 400 energy, will be able to net you all of those daily missions and the reward ruby on top of that. So this is going to be making your daily farming a whole lot easier as we go forward. So that means instead of participating in specific missions and particular attacks and skills, now you just have to go in with your usual daily grind, go at it just a little bit more than usual, and presto, you have a handful of shards and a free ruby for your completion as you feed back into your overall pool. Lastly, the other major update is going to be towards our new players and our rookies that are just starting out. So if you are a new player tuning in, or if you've just been around for only just a couple weeks now, this event and this quality of life thing is going to be just for you. All players that are level 50 and under will have infinite energy, no matter what. So now you can farm anything at any time as long as you please, so that you can catch up and keep up with the big dogs while you're still learning the game and collecting the parts. Whether that means completing story mode, event over and over, super invasions, or anything else of the like that requires energy, anything under level 50 and you now have indefinite energy you can use at your disposal. And I highly recommend capitalizing on that as well, so that you can earn as many rubies as you can to collect on really good parts, as well as any other super invasions or even farming for events. So now you're not going to be locked by an energy requirement that forces you to stop, or even use rubies to refill your energy and keep going. This is no longer a problem for you. Now, moving away from game stuff, since that was more or less all of it specifically for this first half of the event, going on to community-based stuff, we are still always looking for translators to assist us with any current projects or endeavors. Right now, Medarot 3 is still more or less finished, aside from some minor bugs and some grammar fixes, but we are still working towards Medarot 4 and 5 and Navi, or even some manga projects as well. So if you are knowledgeable in coding, cleaning Japanese, or have some time on your hands, or if you know somebody that might, this is going to be a good opportunity for you to join a really good cause, because we need all the manpower we need. Feel free to reach out to me, join our Discord in the link provided below, or ask around. We'll get you in touch with the right people to fill you in on what has been done and what still needs done up to this point, so we can follow along with the story of Hikaru, of Ikki, and even other Medarotters as well, and pro tags through the generations, in games that were not previously available in English and only in Japanese. Now, I'm not going to be doing any weekly art highlights this week, just to kind of take a brief break from that for just a moment, but I am going to give you guys just a friendly reminder and an update on this week as far as my streaming is concerned here on the MNN, or on my downtime when I'm not actually reporting on anything. This week specifically, on tomorrow actually, on 7/17 at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, my usual time I go live for streaming, I will be picking up Dark Cloud 2 again. I just finished Chapter 4 and restored Venicchio and the Luna Lab back to 100% completion, and got my next heading on where I'm going to Mount Gundor, and which is actually going to be my favorite area throughout the entirety of that game. And I stopped there specifically just so I could introduce it properly through a full stream and not midway through. So if you'd like to tune in with me on that, stop on into the MNN tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, to join me on that adventure as we continue on in the quest to restore the world. On Sunday, which will be 7/21, a week from a couple days ago actually, I will be hosting another collaboration on my channel. This last week I had my dear friends Drunk Steel and a new friend Gold Guardian with me as we played Scrap Mechanic and found all the different ways we can break physics with that. This coming week on Sunday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I will be having my dear friends Ryoko, Vector, and Sane, which actually recently re-debuted as Cyber Sane from Neo Sane, on with me here on the MNN once again as we play Goblin Cleanup, and play as the cleanup crew that will be restoring a dungeon back to ready and back to use before the next hero party arrives. I have played it before with some friends of mine in the past, but if you'd like to tune in with me once again as I get back into those shenanigans, that is your time for it as well. Do make sure you tune in with me on either time. I'd love to have you guys stop in and hang out with me and my friends, or even with just me alone, as I try to step away from the Medarot stuff and just, not necessarily as often, but try to supply some more supplemental content, I guess I can say, on my channel. One final note before I do wrap us up, just a friendly reminder, I am always open for commission as well. I can do live 2D models ready to rig, I can do 3D models fully rigged, textured, optimized, and ready to go. I can do standard 2D art of varying degrees of complexity, and I can do emotes. So if you are looking for something to possibly get you started in your content creating career, or if you're looking for stuff just in my style to add to your particular repertoire, my model in particular, as you see here, was hand-drawn by yours truly. I did not rig it, unfortunately. That is just a little bit above what I'm able to learn at this time. Plus just not having the time. But anyway, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter or on Discord, and we can most certainly try to make something happen. But with that being said, I believe that covers basically everything for this week's episode, so mostly a lot of big changes around the quality of life stuff more than anything in-game, but we still have a lot of really exciting stuff all the same. With that being said, if you'd like to know more, you can follow us below on Facebook at the Medarot News Network page, or the Metabots Forever community on there that I do also run and is nearly peaking almost 27,000 members and growing by the day. You can also join us on Discord in the link provided and in the comments below to keep an even closer ear to the ground on the action. This includes any new links to merchandise, fan art, contests, my weekly episodes, or anything else of the like. That Discord server, which is the public Discord server for Project Rising Beetle, is the first place you're going to hear any news before it goes anywhere else on the net. Lastly, you can also follow me on Twitter at ItsuGamiKura if you have any questions, feedback, comments, suggestions, or if you are a content creator that would love to collaborate with me. Whether that means having you here on my channel on the MNN, of which there is always an empty seat here at the news desk, or if you'd like to have me stop in on your channel for a friendly game or an interview or a chat, I would absolutely love to coordinate with you. Feel free to reach out to me and we can most certainly try to make something happen. Lastly, and most certainly not least, definitely give the official Project Rising Beetle, which is the unofficial Western community for Medarot as well, a follow on Twitter, and the official Medarot page on Twitter as well at Rising Beetle and Medarotcha. These are the two best places on Twitter that you will absolutely get the in-depth and the know for anything related to our favorite fighting robots. And this is also where I pull my information from as well when I go to report every Tuesday. But with all that being said, as always, I do appreciate you all for stopping in, just as you always do. And until next time, this is your host, Kura Isagami of the Medarot News Network, signing out.